Good evening, traders. How are you doing? Please like my video if you get a chance. You can retweet me on Gumby9662C on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And please like my video below and uh, um, on the YouTube channel. And I love the comments below. I do appreciate feedback, even stuff that you're saying that I'm not seeing, or even if you have a takeaway different than mine. I do appreciate the feedback if you can give it to me. So, recap of today's price action, institutional price action, real quick here. The biggest trade that showed up there at the very end of the day. So, the what was showing up was completely different than what we ended up with there at 4 o'clock. We had the largest trade for the session was a sell order on Apple at dead lows here. But in comparison, to tell you how anemic today was, that's the size of the sell order on Apple. It happened. I'm not for sure when it happened. It wasn't showing up earlier. So, but with that one there, I think maybe it put us over the top. So maybe the combination of all three of these, maybe that's how they come up with it on that, the number one. But at any rate, Apple, a lot of sell side action in today's session. Okay. So that was the one takeaway that I got going on here into tomorrow. If I go on a bigger time frame, just give me 1 second here, and we'll go ahead here on the 1 hour. And we close right near the dead lows. This does not look like a bell curve. So, this auction does not look complete to the bottom, to the lower lows. Let me see if we're in any type of resistance here. Okay. Change my study set, critical levels. So we are into a potential pivot area. This was resistance. Okay, this proved to be support. This was resistance. This proved to be support, and we're right into that right here, right now. But we do have, like I said, seem to have been selling into the close on that end of day candle. So be very mindful of that. This pattern could very well not be completed. We could be heading down to the 221 area, our next level tomorrow. So be very mindful of that. Okay. Okay, guys. They must have not had updated when I first started doing this video. Now my list has changed. Nvidia was the biggest trade of the day. We have a 70 ranking of the top 100 trades of all time here in NVIDIA at these lows. If you zoom in right here, uh, this was executed on the ask. Okay, guys. So we have a large institutional order executing on the ask down here. So this generally bodes better for the next trading session. So be very mindful. That's what this is so important, understanding this, because you're going into the next session. Generally, they try to support if it's done on the ask. And if it's done on the bid, they try to fade it. Okay, so heads up on that. Potentially a buy the dip scenario here for NVIDIA. Tesla showing up. Give me a second here. Let me get them loaded up. Okay, guys, in the order of ranking of day size, it was NVIDIA, Apple, then Tesla that we're seeing so far. I mean, it's 4:30, not likely to change much from here. Okay, so going into the close here, Microsoft's the third one in size. Okay, large sales order here that happened, institutional sell order. Um, we did around, I don't know, what was that? Around 2:30. Yeah, no, that was yesterday. Okay. What's the time frame on that? Oops. Sorry about that. We'll just look at today's thing here. So, not really much of a change there at the it just hadn't updated, it looks like. So, uh, yeah, so Microsoft, some sell side action. Uh, it looks like even at the close there, they were still uh, some institutions were getting out of the trades. So heads up on that. Okay. Uh, and now Tesla. Okay, give me 1 second here. Oh yeah, let's go into bigger time frame here. I'll show you on the Microsoft trade. Over to my other study set, critical levels. And as you see, Microsoft right in the middle here. Losing today's point of control, and we do have a sell order. So really good odds that we might be visiting 415 tomorrow on Microsoft. So be mindful of that in your trades. Okay. Okay, guys, we're seeing a big trade on Tesla here. Okay, it's 51 percentile of the top 100 trades ever reported on Tesla. Hitting right here. Okay, so be very mindful of that in today in your trading tomorrow. Uh, it looks like we're trying to decide whether or not this is new support. I go down to my 5 minute, and that'll give me an idea if it's on the bid or the ask right here on the open close, and it was on the bid, suggesting more weakness to follow in Tesla tomorrow, potentially breaking this level here. So basically the 410 area, breaking the 410 possibly tomorrow, and that was the next target would be down to see if we can find support around the 401 area, the 400, 401 area. Okay, that would be our next support area. Yeah, it would be, and you see how we go to it pretty fast from where we're currently at. You see how the moves can be violent, so be very mindful of that. Okay, on the docket for tomorrow, we're gonna have a bunch of Chinese data. Okay, bunch of Chinese data hitting the tape overnight. Okay, then on addition to that, we have UK retail sales are coming out. Uh, you know, UK core inflation's coming out. Eurozone CPI, going to see for the final reading on that one. So there's only been, if it's final, there's already been a couple reads on that. So those generally don't change too much. Okay. Building permits, a lot of housing and building permit data, which is obviously going to be poor going because of the interest rates, current interest rate environment. And we have industrial production. So the big one tomorrow is our industrial production numbers. So that one there could rock the markets if industrial numbers are starting to wane off here. So be very mindful. And that doesn't hit till 9:15. So you're getting awfully close to the open before that number even hits. Okay, guys. So we did manage to modestly close lower, still above the 20 SMA here on the dollar index. So, it's still in a bullish bull flag. So we're still bull flagging potentially here on the dollar index until we lose that 20 SMA here on the daily. So we'll just definitely keep that one on watch, potentially bull flagging still here on the dollar going into basically inauguration next Monday. So, and we do have a 3-day weekend, so be very mindful of that. Monday, the markets are closed. And be mindful, the dollar was lower today, which should have been supportive of the markets, and it really didn't go anywhere. In addition, the bonds were supportive of higher markets, and we didn't go anywhere. In fact, the tech sector, you would think, the interest rates were actually, the yields were coming down today. You would have thought that the tech would have been stronger than actually what it was. So Qs were actually acting a lot weaker than SPY uh, on the intraday basis. So be mindful of that going forward here. The Qs were behaving quite weak here. So and like I had mentioned earlier in a prior video, we have seen routinely here that the institutions seem to be selling at lower swing highs on tech since the first of the year. They seem to be selling into lower swing highs on tech. The flip side was they were buying into the financials, which we saw what the result was on financials. So be very mindful of that, cognizant of what's happening in the markets here. Okay, guys. That's being said, we'll go over here to the SPY and what's going on here on SPY here, guys. So we did close below a critical area. We'll see how things open tomorrow morning. There's a really decent chance we could be gapping down tomorrow. So knowing that we've already lost that support into the close, it's definitely increases the odds for a gap down scenario going into tomorrow here on SPY. And just remember, guys, this here is a very, see all that right there? There's no volume profile there. This is a fair value gap, you know, and ultimately we haven't even tagged the lower end of that fair value gap. So, 580, 589.40 back tests, that's our first main back test of support, and we have not even done that yet. So be mindful of that going forward here, and this fair value gap. In a dull market, the odds of, if we come in another dull market, the odds of repairing structure increase in dull markets. Okay, guys, so be very mindful of that. The odds of repairing bad structure, and we technically have a bad structure for the weekly here. So that we have a double distribution with a void in the middle. Okay, so it tends to be a bad weekly structure. Okay, guys, you don't typically just see two completely separate volume distributions in the course of a week. You know, don't get me wrong, it can happen, uh, but generally that does get repaired. So, and like I said, especially in a dull market. Maybe tomorrow won't be dull, but I'm just saying, we have to really be mindful of that. Okay. Qs, similar situation. The volume profile is not quite as bad on the Qs. It's really bad on SPY. They have repaired it a little bit here, so be mindful of that. It's not quite as bad. Uh, so we have to, take away. We have to take in going forward here. Uh, so we had this downtrend, which so far has proven to reject. I don't have a trend line on here, same way with SPY. Similar situation. We got this downtrend. You know, we're still trading below it. Technically, we seem to be, the highs of the downtrends have been short spots. That's what we've proven, and maybe this thing wants to wind even tighter here in the markets. A lot of times, if you're looking to get a squeeze scenario, they wind that as tight as they can get it for the big ramp up or ramp breakdown. Okay, and I don't know which way the case is right now, but we have to be mindful of that. That it looks like they're coiling up for a big move here, and because of this void right here, a lot of the shorts, a lot of the short squeeze is done already. That's why there's a really good chance that they may want to repair this structure so they can build up more shorts if they're going to take us higher, and vice versa. Okay. So, I would think, if we came down and repaired this, we come down, we'll go back up, and then we break down. Okay. And if we come down, repair it, then or we can rocket ship back up on the next move. Okay, right after Trump gets in office. So that's the two main primary scenarios that I would be looking at. That's those scenarios. Okay, IWMs and a lot of MS here. We got this really wide trading range we're currently trading in. We're at weekly value area high here. It held like a champ here. I got another way of looking at this if I can find it real quick. That's not it. We have an Andrews pitchfork off this prior. This is the FOMC sell-off low. Okay, guys, and this was our transition. Okay, and we're right here on Andrews pitchfork, right here at the top of our Andrews pitchfork. You know, into a resistance area. So be mindful of this. Looks like it might be potentially bull flagging, but we have nothing telling us that we're breaking out and going to higher levels. But the bonds going in the right direction, that's going to be helpful. So potentially helpful. So be mindful of that. Other things I did notice, a lot of the XLV was really getting hit today. Remember, Trump's planning on to, or not XLV, healthcare like United Healthcare. United Healthcare really, earnings came out, really got hit. Okay, so be mindful of that. It's bad whenever Trump's planning on making things even more difficult for the healthcare industry, and they're already missing their numbers. So that's not good. Okay, so be mindful because I'm telling you, the COVID era monies going into healthcare are soon to end. So I mean, and they have not been cut backs under Biden. So that area, this area here has a lot of problems facing it in the future. Okay. Other things that really stood out to me. This here is a the one of the strongest sh- uh, uh, rare trades to hit the market in a long time. So you guys might want to add this to your watch list. VALE, Valspar. I think that's a steel company. VALE. I think that's an international steel. So at any rate, that one there really had some outside participation today, and that was a buy. There was a large buyer that came in VALE today. So that's the one really standout trade that I did want to mention today that hit the tape. Okay. Some of these others, they're just smaller companies that I don't trust. Oh, another thing that really stood out today. So be very mindful of this, guys. This has not been showing up. XLU. XLU was a rare trade that showed up today. And so basically, somebody's wanting to start moving into defensive names before the inauguration, and that's what it suggests to me that somebody's starting. They're saying, hey, this might be time to be looking to these more defensive names here, and so be very mindful. XLU, if we go here on the daily, I mean it's had a really good run, so we've had we're up here all-time highs, and we've had a really nice pullback, and we saw somebody coming in and finding saying, hey, this is the time to start looking and looking to more safety in the economy, try to deal with this. And look at this strong on the daily time frame, how strong that one order really skewed the results here in XLE. But see how strong that is on the daily time frame. And that's why I'm telling you, it was a rare trade. That one order really skewed the upside volume here in the utility sector. So be very mindful of that. That is warning us that there could very well be rotation out of the risk on assets and into defenses, and we're getting that warning from XLU today. Okay, so remember historically, running up to the inauguration is bullish. After inauguration, the markets tend to sell off for 2 to 3 months. Okay. So be very mindful of that. This historically after inauguration, because it takes time to get all the pieces together and get things going for the new administration, the markets generally sell off in that situation. So be very mindful of that scenario going forward. Okay. Thanks a lot for listening to me, and I really appreciate it. And our down cycle really doesn't end uh, until inauguration day. Down cycle. So we're at the most dangerous portion of the down cycle if you use cycle theory. Aslin's really good about it, and we're at the most dangerous part. So just be very mindful. These we could very easily see a flush that immediately gets bought back up. So be very mindful of our cycle theory. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.